This video, I'm going to share 50 tips and tricks of PMP. These tips and tricks are very important, and this is the recording of my premium students. You see, we work with the premium students and we explain this part one of out of 500 tips, the first 50 tips. Enjoy the video. If you like it, feel free to subscribe it. And if you have any question, put in the comment box. Good. Today class will be a little bit different than the normal classes. Okay, so I'm gonna share also the document with you of those the confusions you guys were having. So I thought, okay, let's do it some other way, do this thing, and probably this can help them. Okay, so probably this is going to be an interesting session, especially in a way that you will be understanding some of the nonsense that we have here. Okay. Okay, so everyone has message in their group. Munawar, do message in your group. The class has started. Still getting to used to this technology, so bear with me. Acha ji. So we are gonna discuss these tools and technique one by one. Everyone can see the screen, right? Everyone can see the screen. Put in the chat box. I can read your comment and everything here. Yes, yes, yes. Now, whenever the question says, and you must have seen questions saying things like that, right?
না না এখানে যা আছে তা
Guys, mute yourself. Kavi, mute yourself. So you must have seen the question saying investigate or things of those nature. So whenever the question says anything that there's a problem, there's always a thing. The question is saying there's a problem, how to solve that thing. There's a problem, we need to solve that problem. Always understand this thing. This is tip number 2. That is tip number 1. This goes on problem. However, always, whenever there's a problem in the questions, always empowered your people. One of the principles of agile is we need to empower the people. So read this thing. Give autonomy and freedom to team member rather than micromanaging. What does that mean? Arga, can you explain me that? What does that mean? Give autonomy and freedom to the team members rather than micromanaging. What does that mean actually?
Yeah, is it referring to agile project, sir? I think it is related to agile.
Even if we talk about predictive, do you
Okay.
micromanage in predictive? Let's not go with agile. Okay, agile is okay. So what you can do, you can explain in the both context. What is in
Okay.
agile and what is predictive? How would you put in the context?
Okay, so I will give first example of agile and then I'll go to predictive.
Okay.
So if let us say the question says that the team like they have to estimate the duration of the activity. So in that case, as a scrum master or the project manager shouldn't micromanage and he shouldn't direct the team how to estimate or how to decide on the estimate of the activity. Rather, as being self-governing, the team should decide how much like time they should need to to complete the task. This is for agile. So
Okay.
he shouldn't go for micromanaging the task
Okay.
of the team. And for predicting, let us say there is a problem. There is a problem in the project wherein they come across a scope which was not part of the initial, like a scope which was not part of the initial, the scope statement. So
Okay.
this will be so let rather than directing the team that okay, you complete the task, he should discuss with the team first how to assess the impact of that one. So the team should have he should empower the team to decide on the impact and then they should do brainstorming, then they should come to the conclusion whether this will have an impact or not.
I like
Maybe these are
I like what he is saying. Like here, One of the job of the project manager throughout, and this is also in the exam content outline, this is also you will say, we need to identify training assessment, we need to provide training of the team members, and we need to coach them. Everyone agrees on that? Put in the chat box. Do you agree on that? We need to provide coaching into that. Why we are doing that? So that according to the Tuckman ladder, we can reach the performing stage. And what do we do in the performing stage? We delegate the task. And that's what this tip is saying. Give autonomy and freedom to the people, to the team member, rather than micromanaging. Now, I'm not saying micromanaging is wrong. In some cases, micromanaging is necessary. Some cases, micromanaging is important. But what is happening here? When you micromanage, you cannot grow. You cannot go to the next step. So always, if you see an option and there are four options, always go for the option where we will hype into this. Sir, isn't it coaching comes first, then training, then no, not necessary. It can be anyway. Like coaching is soft skills, training is like of a physical skills and or those nature, right? And similar way we work into that way. Training, coaching, mentoring, it can be anyway. But I would go with first training skills that we need to do. Like I provided you 6 days training. Now I'm doing your coaching. This coaching is continuously happening, guiding you. Okay, do this thing, do that thing, and then mentoring for lifelong. Okay, so training, coaching, mentoring, it works into this proper that way. Acha, ji. It should be very easy. However, I can do it. Okay, I'll look into that later on. Okay, so let's go with the next tip. Okay, let's go with the tip number one. This was tip number two. Now we'll go the tip number one. The tip number one will point out to the next thing. Okay, we'll point out to the next thing that is, okay, where is that? Yeah, okay. Tamanna, can you explain me this one? What does that mean?
Hello. So from my perspective, it is before we are looking for the solution, we just have to identify the problem in the questions. What is the problem that we are facing as a PM? What is the next step that is we have to do? So first, find the problem is the main element here.
Hmm. So what it is saying, investigate the problem, then
Mhm.
jumping. So I am 100% sure you have seen a question where the question is saying, uh, like a problem has happened, a project manager what should do? Implement the change request, change the schedule. Like yesterday, we were solving question in the EST coaching call. The sponsor asked, the schedule is behind. The schedule is the project is behind schedule. What should you do? Many people were saying, okay, uh, raise a change request. Okay, that is okay. But we, Manila, mute yourself, please. We always need to evaluate. We always need to investigate. We always need to look into that. Investigation, working into that way is always critical and it always helps us out. Is it clear to everybody? That is tip number two. Okay, I will give you this file also. There are 100 tips. I will going through some of them. Okay. Uh, Dani, can you answer this one? Dani?
Yes, hi.
Yes, tell me. Explain this one.
Okay. So, we have seen both in agile and in predictive life cycle that we have seen questions that one of the options is given as refer to the sponsor or seek sponsors
Hmm,
approval.
hmm.
So, while eliminating options, we have seen that this is one of the options that we don't easily take as a project manager, as a servant leader. We try to solve the problems ourselves with the team, and then if nothing else works out, then only we go and escalate.
Okay, then only we can do that. So one of the thing, I never want to escalate a problem. I never want to escalate that problem to anyone else. I want to solve that problem. I want to look at that problem. I want to see what that problem is and how that problem can be solved, right? How that problem can be solved into that way. This is a holy grail of many questions. When the people says, okay, let's escalate to the sponsor. Okay, guys, if you are going to escalate every single thing to the sponsor, sponsor is going to say, hey, I don't need you, go home. Okay, I don't need you, go home. You got my point? Why would he need a project manager if he has to do every single thing himself? Okay, if he has to do every single thing himself. Does that make sense to everyone? Okay, are these tips helping you, refreshing the concept? Okay, now.
Especially in agile, that there are some tasks,
Hmm.
there are some tasks which needs to be special training which the team member are lack.
Hmm.
So in this issue, we go for a training workshop, coaching them
Hmm.
to cover this problem. We go for external training or internal training.
Okay, guys, write down here. Never fire team member. Write down in your notes. And it is important thing for you guys to remember this thing. Never fire your team member. Never. I don't want to fire my team member ever. This is a very important thing. I always want to make sure the team member is along the way. Ali Raza and Mazahir, I'm making you co-host. Okay. So this is an important thing here. Okay. Let's go to the next one. Communicate directly with the relevant. Ali Raza, can you explain this one? Ali Raza?
Communicate directly with the relevant persons rather than involving intermediaries. The basic purpose is basically, since you're a servant leader and you have a self-organizing and a self-disciplined team, so rather than going to third parties, you keep the discussions within the team, find out a solution, and then implement it.
Okay. So this is a very important thing. Let's say you overhear something. You overhear people are talking about it. Or someone else said that. Even osmotic communication. Ali Raza, what is osmotic communication? What is osmotic
The
communication?
things that you learn while sitting with each other, while you're co-located.
Okay. So when you are sitting together, you sometimes overhear what people are saying. That is called as osmotic communication. Although it is a very good thing. Like for example, right now, let's say we are sitting together. Me and Ali Raza is discussing. Everyone else is listening to that communication. Everyone is hearing that communication. That can be a good, bad, whatever it is. But I need to understand how that communication can help me. So if that is, let's say I talks about Hassan Trimzi. Someone says, hey sir, Hassan is not doing that or Vash is not doing that. I listen to you, I talk to you, but I need to directly communicate with that relevant person. Okay? I hope that is very clear and we need to do that in our real life also. Okay? Okay. Let's go with the next one. Communicate directly with the chooser. Okay. So next is choose face-to-face meetings whenever possible rather than relying on indicates. We already discussed multiple times that face-to-face is something that we want to go for it. Face-to-face is the most important thing, is the most and if the question says anywhere, if the question says anywhere that people are having communication problem, any communication challenge, which type of they are people, virtual people are having challenge, whatever the communication challenges are there, always try to see if I can put them face to face. Always try to see if I can put them face to face. If I can put them face to face, I can put them in one location, I will be able to work with them in the best possible way. Okay, I will be able to put them, like for example, there are right now almost 30 people in the class. Now, some of them have turned the video on, some of them haven't turned the video. I'm not sure who is there, who's not there. And I want to give 1 point to each one to explain to have a challenge there. But I need to see if you are available, you are with the mobile, with the laptop, can you even talk, what's your background. But if we are sitting at one place, even for 30 minutes, even for a cup of coffee, our relationship goes to a different level. Everyone clear on that? At co-location, we always want to do that. Okay. So act as a servant leader, then dictating every decision. This goes back to the previous one, which we discussed. We never fire the team member, and servant leadership mentality is required in the entire project. Okay. Consult with the team before making decision rather than deciding unilaterally. Again, yesterday question we discussed in the coaching call, in EST coaching call, I do recommend always watch coaching calls even if you miss it. Instead of just taking the decision, instead of saying, okay, I am right. Okay, but you have experts in your project. There's a reason other people are in the project, right? So consult with them, talk to them, understand their point of view, investigate, and then go for that. Point number 8. Be transparent in communication rather than withholding information. Okay, Sai, unmute yourself. Okay, before that, yes, Mazahir, you have a question?
Sir, there are some questions in which the team members have conflict about some product. Someone say this story must be this one, user story must be that like. So there is after 1 hour meeting, after 2 days meeting, they were not going to conclusion. Then as a team leader, what we have to do in this issue?
We need to, like, this is a different type of point. Then here we need to have a transparent. If I go with your question into this point, okay, I need to be open in the communication, identifying it. First of all, you need to see at which level the conflict is. There are 5 level of conflict: level 1, level 2, level 3, level 4. Then depending upon that conflict, I will go for the conflict resolution technique. Okay, I will go with the conflict resolution technique. Please understand that problem solving, accommodating is always a number one priority, but directing is in our options. If the conflict is not helping, we can go with the directing options also, but that is not recommended, I would say. G, Sai, explain this one.
Yes, sir. Be transparent in communication rather than withholding information. It
Okay.
means you have to be very transparent with the team member. Don't keep the people in gray line. Make them, give them full information, whatever you have.
Okay, this is a very important thing. The one thing is called as information radiator. What is information radiator, Sai?
Information radiator, like we have in agile practice, like we have the burn up chart, burn down chart in the Kanban board. This all
But
information
you are
radiators.
going to such a length. This my board is an information radiator. Right now,
Yes.
the big board I am using right now. Why I am using such a big board? Because when I move, it gives me more energy. It gives me, plus you can see the information. Okay, you can see the information. There's the information. Of course, burn up, burn down chart, or everything that shows information is an information radiator. Okay. And this point, I hope, is
Yes.
clear to everyone. Very easy, not a big problem here. Okay, Sai, this was Said. Sai, are you with me?
Yes, sir.
No, no, not Said. Sai. Next one is Sai.
Uh,
Sai. Okay, go ahead, brother. Tell me this one. Yes, Sai. Here is Sai.
Understanding stakeholder needs rather than assuming them.
What
The
does
stakeholder is the main.
Let's focus on this thing. How do I understand the stakeholder requirement? Needs mean requirement. Okay, needs is requirement. How do I understand stakeholder requirement? Say. So first of all, how do I understand the stakeholder requirement?
By interacting with them face to face,
Face
we
to
need to
face.
get
Very well done. Very well.
engagement. We need to
Yes.
engage completely with them. Then only we get to know that what exactly the stakeholder wants to go on further. So engagement is one of the basic thing. So that we get what modifications or what suggestions, what idea he needs to give for a product or a project or service. So that without assuming like is a other thing. Before assuming, we have to be sure that this particular stakeholder is exactly what he needs. So we need to be like engage with the stakeholders to get what exactly he needs.
Very well
rather
done.
than assuming.
I really like say how you went towards the answer, that I don't have to assume into that way. I need to understand his requirement and I need to look into that way. It's very important. The project management is all about stakeholder management. I cannot just assume that Dani needs this thing, right? So I need to see how I can make sure Dani can become PMP in next 15 days, right? If I open that tracker and I go and I look at into that, okay, so now this is my assumption, and probably I will be doing follow with all of you and will be saying, okay, where do you stand? Where are you? Why didn't you update the tracker? How can I help you into that? Right? So every single person, every single thing, I need to understand. I need to understand their requirement, what their requirements are, instead of assuming it. Okay, there is some time that I need to assume the requirements, but that shouldn't be done always. Okay, I need to talk to those people, understand what is there, and then go into that. Especially key stakeholders. Remember, power, interest graph. Those people have high power, high interest. What do we do then? High power, low interest, put in the chat box. Low power, high interest, low power, low interest. Immediately put in the chat box. First quadrant, second quadrant, third, and fourth. What do we do? You should know this as just like in a second. In the first quadrant, what do we do? Second quadrant, what do we do? Third, fourth, everybody type in the chat box. This is very critical, very important, because this actually gives you the PMP, the real sense of it. Okay. Here, here, I need to manage them closely. Here, I need to keep them informed. Here, I need to keep them satisfied. Here, I need to put them into watch list. Acha, yesterday, when I put this video, one of the person, he was not my student, he reached me out and he said, Amer, he sent me a picture, Amer, and the matrix was something like that. Power was here, interest was here. Okay. Power was here, interest was there. He said that in this column, you said keep informed, but it should be keep satisfied. Now, say what was his mistake. First of all, I laughed at him. I literally laughed at him, and I said him, stop. I will tell you later. First of all, just tell Sai.
The problem is he has to be clear with the concept. Whether he go on x-axis or y-axis doesn't make sense. First, he needs to be clear. No, it doesn't make sense. If the power is on y-axis, interest is on x-axis, he has to be clear with the concept. Otherwise, he has to
Yes.
remember one
Thank you.
image.
Thank you. Don't cram. This is clear to everybody, na? I just change x-axis into y-axis. If anyone is not clear, please ask. If that can happen to other people, it can happen to my students. If anyone is not clear, please ask this. I request you. Here, since we changed here, power was here. Now I put power here. Simply, this is of course high power, high interest. Here, this is high power, low interest. So when there is high power and low interest, we need to keep them satisfied. Okay, you need to see where the matrix is, and according to that, work into that way. Okay, please, this is an important thing. I don't want anyone to make such mistake. Okay, involve stakeholder in the process rather than isolating them. You may have seen many questions that happen because people did not involve the stakeholder. I need to involve the stakeholder throughout the project. Very important. Involve them throughout the project. Involve people in the decision making. Right? Mothers are very good at that. Even the child is small. Like I see my wife doing that. My son is 4. My daughter is 5. She still asks them. Okay, what do you want to eat? What are you doing? Like if it was me, I'm telling them do this, do that. She never does that. She put it in a different way. She involves in them, right? What do you want to eat? Like what are you want? You want to do this, you want to do that. Like showing them the clothes which you want to do wear in the morning. This, that. They are choosing them. Now what is happening? They're getting involved in the process rather than isolating them instead of doing that. Okay, engaging stakeholder, very critical for your exam. Address stakeholder concerns proactively rather than waiting for them to raise an issue. Okay. Arzu, can you explain this one? Arzu? Okay, Arzu not right. Okay, Aruj, are you
Hi,
ready?
Amer.
Can
Yeah.
you?
So, Yes, address stakeholder concern proactively rather than waiting for them to raise an issue. So, if we will not, address the concern of the stakeholder in the initial phase or when it was raised, then it might raise a conflict, which will delay our project both in terms of time, and it might affect the cost as well.
Oh,
So we should always address the stakeholder concern proactively, get them involved, like you said in the previous point. We should involve them, and whatever concern they have raised, we should provide them the solution, or we should, explain the entire thing to the stakeholder.
how we can do this thing?
So whenever the stakeholders are involved in the, for example, in the review meeting or retrospective meeting, they raise their concerns, so we can explain them, uh, regarding the concern they have raised. We can explain the situation or the things that they are not sure about, or, they have any doubt about that.
We need to talk to them. We need to have a face-to-face
Yes.
meeting. We need to understand. Stakeholder is not a part of retro. Okay, he's not a part of retro, but you can have other meeting with them, Meher. Manage them stakeholders accordingly and identify what they need and fulfill that. Meher, unmute yourself. Meher,
Sir, I have unmuted.
yeah, explain this one.
Um,
Avoid removing or replacing team member hastily try to resolve issues first. So, as you has already said that firing the team member is not done. We never do it. He has some performance problem. If there is performance issue, we coach them, we train them, and if he is not performing, we can have a private discussion with them.
Hmm. Have a discussion with them what we can do, what we cannot do. From now
Private
on,
discussion in the means that if some team member is facing some personal issue or some problem within the team, he resolves the conflict, he identifies the conflict, and he resolves the conflict. And face-to-face meeting, yes, it is very important, critical, because you get to the best way of communication is face-to-face.
face to face, talk to them, identify what can be done, what cannot be done. I will give next each student almost two now. Also do this one, man.
Okay, sir. Align project activities with the organizational organizational vision rather than pursuing isolated goals. It is very important that project activities should be in alignment with the vision of the project. It should not be treated as a separate entity that you are pursuing your own interest goal. You have to align yourself with a vision which is set by the project charter in the business plan, business case,
Hmm.
and the project sponsor.
Very critical thing that we are here for the project. Okay, we are here at the end of the day. We are here for the project. There's a vision why the project was started. Okay, then we started working on it. There's a vision for the project. We started working on it. I need to align the work according to this domain. Like I need to see why the project is this, what the project is, instead of just doing your own things. It's for the project. Yes, team is important. Yes, all those things are important. But we are here for the project. We are here to make the project as a best thing here. Okay? G, next. Okay. Who didn't do that? Guys, you can raise your hand instead of me identifying it. Who want to do it? Hassan Javed, are you with me? Hassan Javed? Someone can raise the hand. Okay. Muhammad Ahmad,
Yes, sir.
explain this one.
So it says approach uncooperative members proactively rather than avoiding the issue. So uncooperative members basically pose a threat to the project progress and team cohesiveness. So that's why this can be a risk, and we have to identify what is their concern, why they are not cooperating. Is there something that the project manager, the servant leader, can do to solve their concerns?
So we need to look into that. Again, this goes back to the previous issue we discussed. We need to be proactive. We need to talk to them and work into that way. Ahmed, next one.
Minimize mandatory meetings for virtual teams rather than overburdening them. So since we want the team to finish the project tasks, so we have to be very effective and efficient with the number of meetings that we have scheduled for them. So instead of having unproductive meetings, it's better to have just a stand up for a few minutes, get the project status, and review whatever we have done in the sprint and have the retrospective to improve our sprint planning and the sprint
There's a reason.
activity.
There's a reason we make the structure. The reason is to facilitate the people. The reason is to work with the people. Why do we share what is the status and etc etc, so that if two members have an issue, they can discuss with each other later on instead of going the all day on meetings. Okay, so this is one of the very important thing. Agile actually saves away time from the meetings. Very important. Thank you. Renu Cotton, can you introduce yourself? Renu Cotton, are you with me?
Yes, sir. Tell me, sir.
Okay, this one, please.
Sir, adapt communication styles to suit stakeholders' preferences rather than sticking to one style.
So this is again goes to communication requirement. I need to identify the communication requirements of each stakeholders. I need to see what they need, how they need, what can be improved, what can be worked into that. So I need to give the communication requirements according to each stakeholder, according to their requirement, instead of me putting out into the context. Thank you. Next one. Next one, please. Renu.
Follow change management procedures rather than making unplanned changes.
This is very important. Whenever there's a process for both predictive changes as well as agile. Put in the chat box. Let's go with that. Let's see everybody input into that. How changes are happened in predictive. First of all, let's put that into the chat box. Everyone, how changes are happened in predictive. How changes are happening in predictive. We raise the change request, the change goes to the change control board, the change is approved. So steps of changes in the predictive is a change is raised. Even if a PM want to the change must be raised according to the change control procedure in the change log. Change request is raised. It goes to PM. PM does the impact analysis, how it impacts scope, schedule, cost. And if we feel the change is needed, we send the change to change control board. That change is, if approved, we update the change log, we communicate and implement it. Proper procedure is built in predictive for all the changes. All the changes, a proper procedure is there. Okay, what happens in agile? If a change is in the agile, what do we do? How do we handle it? Put in the chat box. How do we handle changes in the change request? Here's a change. Log in the change. Arga change control. Very well done, Arga. All the changes in the agile, it goes to product owner. Whatever the change is, all the changes goes to the product owner. Product owner put it to the product backlog, and depending on the priority, it becomes high value, high risk, and we handle into that. Very important. We need to follow the change procedures, how the change procedures work, how the change process are, and we need to handle into that pertinent way. Very important. Mustafa, can you unmute yourself, brother? Mustafa?
Yes, Amer bhai.
Yes, who's asking? Anyone has any question? No, Mustafa, please go ahead.
Be adaptive to team needs rather than enforcing standardization and uniformity. Uniformity.
So what does that mean?
Uh, it means need to
We discussed
be adaptive.
one of the value of agile is individual and please mute yourself. Somebody is unmuted. Individual and interaction over processes and tools. This is one of the value of agile. Okay, individual and their interaction over processes and tool. This goes to that thing. I don't need to be standardized on everything. People have different needs. Some are visual reader, some are book reader, some are mind map, some are different. You see, even the coaching call, I did not solve the questions today. I am identifying, I'm going through your RCS that you are sharing. I am looking at your scores. And then I made these 100 tips for you guys so that you can look into that. You can see what these tips are and how it can help you. And today we are discussing this, right? And then I ask you guys how you want to do it. You want to discuss in the breakout room or you want me to discuss it? And we are discussing it. This is according to the requirement. Mustafa, good job. Next one. Mustafa, next one, please.
Yes, choose actions that solve problem directly rather than those which hide issues.
Straightforward. This is a straightforward. I don't think so. We need to explain that.
Yeah,
I need to solve the actions, whatever the actions are there. I need to solve them, work into that way. Thank you. Thank you very much.
yes, correct. Yeah.
Tamanna? Tamanna?
Yes.
Okay, next one.
Take responsibility in crisis rather than shifting it to others. So, whatever your role as a PM, you have to take the responsibility, even if it is you don't have to escalate the task or you have to do your task. You don't have to shift your responsibility to other team member or sponsor. So, yeah.
Yeah. As a project manager, I need to take responsibilities of every single thing instead of giving it to other person, right? So I need to look into that as a servant leader. I can do these things and work into that. Good job. Tamanna, next one.
Regularly learn from past lessons rather than repeating mistakes. So, you are in a project, we use lesson learn register to just document the lessons that we learn. But every time we have to learn from our mistake as a PM or as a team leader rather than repeating the mistake. So,
We have two things in agile lesson and register and in predictive. In predictive, we have lesson learned register. In agile, retrospective. The entire purpose of the retrospective is to learn how we work into that. And of course, these lesson learned register goes into OPS. Somebody put in the OPS that it becomes the part of the organizational asset so that this thing never happen again. Okay, so that this thing never happen again. Assumption log, we don't, Dani, we don't update assumption log as per requirement. These things superseded. Assumption log are for current project when we are assuming. Dani, unmute yourself. I was gonna give you anyway. Unmute yourself. Yes.
Yes.
So what is the purpose of assumption log as you mentioned? Yes.
Assumption log would be like when we are starting, we will consider some basic constraints, some basis of calculations based on which we are calculating or making a scope.
Assumption log, where do we use assumption log? Initiation,
We
planning.
use it right at the time of making.
Where we are using assumption log more?
In the initiation phase.
Initiation, there are three
At
documents:
the
project charter, assumption log, and that. Later on, 99,
log stakeholder system.
99% of the time, we are using risk register. The entire assumption log goes into the part of the risk register. Okay. Only one time, one of the questions that you have seen, once you have updated everything about the stakeholder, then you can update the assumption log. But at the end of the project, in like let's say in planning, it goes to risk register. In monitoring and control, assumptions are going to risk register. Okay, in closing, both of these goes into lesson learn register and become the part of OP. Okay, does that make sense to you, or you have
Okay.
a question on that?
Yes, yes. No, got it.
Okay, solve the next question. Solve the next one, please.
Okay. Avoid making commitments due to pressure rather than compromising project goals.
So this is very simple things that I should not make commitments I cannot have, right? I cannot make
Yes.
commitment which I cannot do. Next,
Stay receptive to changing customer needs rather than ignoring them.
the entire agile stands for that. Customer
Yes.
collaboration over,
Over contract negotiation.
and what is the second one? Respond to a change,
Respond to change over
following a plan. The entire thing,
following plan.
following a plan. The entire thing is put into this way. Thank you. Okay, Said Khan, two more for you. And guys, please turn your hand on. So I know you are with me. Said Khan, can you do that? Said Khan, Saida.
जी जी सर अस्सलाम वालेकुम okay present your perspective to influential stakeholders rather than remaining silent.
What does that mean? That means don't do avoiding. I am just documenting. Don't do that. Talk to the stakeholders, work with them, guide them. Okay, Said? Guide your next.
Yeah. Foster open communication rather than creating information silos.
We need to make a proper communication, work with them so that we can enhance the project, we can move it along the way rather than putting it over silos and not doing the things. I need to have an open communication. I need to talk to them. I need to work with them. This is very critical and it can be a very important thing in the project. Okay, Arga, unmute yourself. Arga?
Yeah. Yes, sir. Encourage creating problem solving rather than sticking to conventional methods. Let us say, okay, taking an example of agile, let us say a team member comes up with a solution for for expediting the completion of the activity. Then I think as a scrum master, he should encourage rather than discouraging the team member.
You should encourage the team member and work into that way. Okay, that's a very important thing into that. Okay, next, Arga, stay with me.
Okay, use iterative approaches for complex projects rather than linear planning. Let us say iterative. If I talk about let us say a software which is to be launched, then we should go for the iterative rather than linear planning, because we have to deliver the the project goals, or the goals has to be delivered in packages. So we go for iterative approaches rather than, because
in predictive projects, we can have straight approach, step 1, step 2, step 3, right? And working into that way. But no, not in this. Not in this way. Not in this way. So we need to look into that. Thank you very much. Okay. G, who will do the next 3? Now I'm gonna give you the 3. Now move forward. Ali
Do
Raza?
that, so yeah, I can do it. Yeah, utilize data-driven decisions rather than relying on intuition. So basically, refer to the lesson learned register, your risk registers, and all the documentation that you have, rather than making on the spur decisions.
How do we get data here? Which is getting data here? Lesson register is not getting data, Ali Raza.
Yeah, I mean the
You are using histogram,
yeah,
you are using Pareto chart, you are using sampling, you are using check sheets, checklist, inspections, those quality tools. Those quality tools are data driven. They are giving us data. Those documentation, lesson learned register, things like, they are not data. You collect the data. Does that make sense to you, Ali? You are collecting the data.
okay.
Huh? Makes sense to everyone? Put in the chat box. You are collecting the data through different tools and technique. Even in Risk, if we talk about risk, we have sensitivity analysis, we have expected monitoring, and different tools that we use to collect that. Your point was right, but you missed that tool. Okay, Ali?
Okay.
Ali, stay with me. Next one.
Promote a positive project culture rather than allowing negativity. So basically, you are a servant leader. You have to stay positive, and then you have to basically, you have to do individual interactions over processes. So
Yeah, as a servant leader, that is your job. You need to make, as a servant leader, this is my job. I need to make sure that the right way is looked into that way, right way is built, and we built on that. Ali, one more. Ali Raza?
ensure timely stakeholder communications rather than delaying updates.
This
So
is 4 hours of communication, straightforward.
yeah,
Right? Thank you very much. G, anyone else? Next one, guys. Guys, next one, please. Someone. Okay. Emphasize continuous learning rather than a static knowledge. This is the basic of project management. We continuously provide the training at the start for the entire team, and as we move forward for the entire project, we continuously need to provide lesson learns, daily stand up. We are doing all those things to provide data, to provide the working into that. Faik, can you talk? Faik? Said Faik?
Yes, Amer. Implement best practice from past project rather than reinventing the wheel. Yeah, so in some project, it's all about the lesson learned also. So if we have best practice from past project, we can implement in the other projects that one too.
How do we do that?
Getting from the lesson learned repository.
By good. By getting from lesson learned repository in predictive, in agile, the purpose of sprint retrospective
Yes.
to identify that and worked it into that way. Very well done. Okay, next one.
Focus on risk prevention rather than reactive measures.
The entire risk management is this process. The entire topic of risk is I need to identify risk. I need to identify the risk, document them, plan the response. The entire practice is dedicated for this thing. Clear to you?
Yes.
Okay, fine. Next one.
Optimize for collaboration tools rather than manual coordination methods. So, like we should focus on the collaborative tools and tactics rather than like manual stuff. So,
Exactly. Why did I buy this board? So that I can collaborate with you guys more.
yeah.
Right? I keep on identifying the practices, even if I have to invest a lot of money. I am trying to identify how to maintain you attentive in the class using collaborative tools. Okay, thank you for that.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, let's go with Mazahir. Mazahir?
Adopt plans based on project dynamics rather than rigidity adhering to them.
So we already discussed something like that, so that is clear, I guess. Okay, next.
Encourage stakeholders' feedback rather than assuming satisfaction.
I need to get the stakeholder feedback continuously to make our projects better instead of thinking that they are satisfied. It's never possible. Stakeholders are satisfied. Customers are never satisfied. You think they are, but when you talk, you find other things. Next.
Maintain alignment with organization strategy rather than pushing irrelevant goals.
So again, organizational strategy drive the portfolio. That portfolio drive program and projects, and they deliver to the operations. The purpose the project was started or program was started is organizational strategy. I need to make sure organizational strategy is worked in a proper direction. If organizational strategy is not there, why the hell we are even doing the project? Okay, it's a very important thing. We always need to remain consistent with the organizational strategy. You see, my organizational strategy nowadays is number one priority is to get 500 PMPs by my birthday. Okay, I have 27 days left. So I'm continuously pinning you guys, saying that. Like today, I message to every single student. I message in the group. I message personally, right, to I tried through the broadcast list, come to the coaching call, come because I made this document. Yesterday I spent 4 hours thinking about it, and then we came up with this document, like what to do. I'm trying for a few days, and we came up with this strategy because the strategy is 500 PMPs by 31st March. Truly, I believe it is impossible, but shoot for the moon. Even if you miss, you will land among the stars. Right? That is the belief here. We can work into that. Ji, continue. Muzahir?
Encourage innovation and creativity rather than discouraging new ideas.
This is very important, and this is like I need to challenge the status quo. I need to challenge the status quo. Status quo mean as it is. Many people want how the things are. Like when I came into the training thing and I started working with that, I was a book reader, right? I was a book reader. I read Pim book. I read Rita. I read what was the head first. One more, 4 books I read. But when I came to the training thing, I identified people cannot read book. They don't want to read book. I used to give book to my wife, and on the third or fourth page, no matter she just got up, she went back to sleep, right? Or very low, whatever it is. When identified, okay, people have a different learning style. I went to trainings, learned from that. Now my program, although I'm the only one who was an author and things of those nature, right? You don't have to just follow one way. Go for creativity. How we can work into that. Very important. Jim Zai, next one.
Address conflicts directly rather than avoiding them.
Although sometimes avoiding is the option there. We need to see the process. Muzahir, you asked this question, but this we need to look into the process, how the process is, and working into that pattern way. Very important for the projects. How we work into that, how we prioritize those things, and how we move towards that thing. Tamanna? Tamanna?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. Optimize resources efficiently rather than wasting them. So, as a PM, whatever resources we have in terms of our project, we have to efficiently use that resources so we can align with the project goals rather than wasting them. So.
So what it is that dimming cycle, plan, do, check, act. This happens for
Yes.
everything. This is known as dimming cycle. I plan something, I execute, I check, I act. Continuously, I need to see what is the most effective way to use the resources. Tamanna, next one. Okay.
Next is focus on outcomes rather than measuring just deliverables. So in Agile, we also focus on like the values that we deliver to customer rather than like working, software. So every time we just have to focus on what are the values we deliver to customer rather than the working software. So.
Yeah. Did you see when I read this? I got suddenly a big smile on my face. 99% of the organization just provide that training. They are focusing on deliverable. I have provided you 35 PDs. What I am focusing on? I'm focusing on that you become PMP. That's why people have paid their training investment. Still, I'm pursuing them. I'm asking them. I'm working with them. I am focusing on the outcome instead of just one deliverable. Instead of just one deliverable, I'm going towards the outcome. What is outcome? You become certified PM. You are become certified PMP. Even though I'm still working on one of the thing which haven't been successful, but working. Like those who are my certified PMP, make some mechanism, have a discussion with them. Like I am in a discussion to say make some mechanism without charging anything. I had multiple discussion. I always say I don't need to manpower people. I want to make a system where they need a person. I have thousands of PMPs. It's a win-win situation, right? Focusing on the outcomes rather than the deliverable. Okay. For example, someone does not have a job and he is looking for job. He does PMP. Then PMP is a deliverable, is not an outcome. Then job is an outcome. So we need to focus what is the end goal here. Okay. Continue, Tamana.
The next one is use visual management tool rather than relying solely on written reports. So we use
what I am doing right now. It is written there, but I am visually using that, right?
yes,
Exactly, that
yes.
is the example here. Okay, read please, Tamanna.
Okay, the next one is be prepared for uncertainty rather than assuming predictability. So, as a PM, when you're working on a project, you have always have to be ready about some of the uncertainty because you assume the things and it's never most of the times in the project it's never gonna in the positive way. So just prepare for the uncertainty.
Guys, are you familiar with the Murphy's laws? Anyone familiar with the Murphy law? What does Murphy has these laws? Anyone familiar with that?
Yes.
What
Yes.
was that? Ali?
If anything can happen, it will happen. So
Will happen. So Murphy was not the positive speaker of the day. He was says that if you think something bad can happen, that's for sure that happen. Which means anything can go wrong, it will go wrong. For example, I'm using this board for last 4 days for live sessions. Everything is going great. Now I did the coaching call. It was not engaging with me. I don't know what happened. I thought that it can happen in the coaching call. It happened. Murphy's laws. You need to be prepared for everything that can go wrong. Money, are you with me? Money J?
Yes, sir. Encourage continuous feedback loops rather than end of project evaluations.
This has become very critical in everything. My entire follow-up system is based on this thing. My entire follow-up system. And then I discuss with the facilitators. Like today, after this coaching call, I had a discussion with, I'm going to have a discussion with the batch 2 facilitator, all the students. Then I'm going to have a discussion with you. Follow up, identify so that you can continuously improve. Guys, we don't live in that world which our parents used to live. Go to the job, get degree, get a government job, get a house, live up. Things are changing. AI is coming and it is going to destroy your job, right? Live shopping, things of those natures. So many things are happening. I need to continuously adopt. I need to identify the ways how I can be the best in my domain. Okay. Mani, continue. Next one.
Prioritize actions that deliver value rather than low impact activities.
Now, this is very important thing. Most of the time, we say we are doing, and then we are tired. Here, Pareto principle is very important. Identify what to do, how to do, and work into that. How many of you guys set goals? Maybe daily, weekly, monthly. How many of you set goals? Anyone can tell me? Anyone set goals? If you don't, at least set daily target on a piece of paper. On a piece of paper like this. Like I woke up in the day. Okay. I am daily setting goal. I achieve it, I don't achieve it, at least I have something to do. Daily, before I go to bed in the night and before when I wake up, daily I set goals. Sometimes I achieve, mostly I don't achieve because I set 10x goals. But it gives me a priority what needs to be done, right? I just had a discussion with a student in Saudi, potential student, and he said that the schedule is very busy. I said, tell me, okay, tell me what are the things? And he said me, his schedule is from 6 a.m. till 11 a.m. or something like that. Like it's a 5 hour duty. Okay. I said, after that, I need to take rest. Seriously, his duty is 20 minutes far away. He wants to get a better job and he's earning like 3,500 Saudi riyal. It's a very bad salary with a 7 years experience or something like that. Not to say no to anything. Everyone has. When I did PMP, my salary was less than this. My salary was 3,000. I did in Bahrain, so it was actually 300 when I did PMP. I overpaid double than my salary, right? But the thing is that you need to work into that. You need to prioritize. How many hours you can sleep? You need to look into that. Very critical. Okay. Continue. Dani, I will answer your question in a second. Continue, Mani.
Promote team empowerment rather than centralized control.
So we already discussed the individual and interaction over processes and tool. Next.
Choose ethical decision making over shortcuts or expedient methods.
Very, very, very important. In the PMP exam, if you get 4 to 5 ethical questions and you make it wrong, those questions carry very heavy marks. You cannot take bribe. You cannot do cheating. If the question says like that, please, very critical. These are very critical. Okay, continue, Dani. Oh, Mani.
Yeah. Support a diverse team and environment rather than uniformity.
Yeah. Instead of having same people with no diversity, you don't get a benefit there. You see, one of the reason why I'm learning so much, my students are telling me to use this thing. I was giving PPTs to the student to solve question. One of the student whose children used to go in Dubai school, she actually said me, sir, you can do Google form, and then she gave me like 10, 15 ideas. Out of them, I used 2 of them. Then one of the students said, let's go with the simulator. Then one of the student is from UK, basically from India. He shared me, sir, use this tracker sheet, which I'm using with you guys. Before that, I was using PowerPoint. Having a diverse audience is always helpful. Okay. And finally, incorporate stakeholder needs into the planning process rather than ignoring them. Working with the stakeholders, guiding them, and coaching them along the way. Okay, guys. So data-driven decision. So it is asking data-driven decision. So for example, what does data mean? Data means you need to get information from some place, right? How do I gather the information? Now the question comes, how do I gather the information? You gather the information. You gather the information through checklist. You go there, inspect. You gather the information through checklist, check sheets. You do sampling. Okay. Now you have the data. Now,
Sir, your board is not visible, sir.
oh, sorry. Sorry. Thank you for reminding me. So you see, Morphila, anything bad can happen, will happen. Thank you for that. So what we do, we collect the data using checklist, check sheets, the inspection, then through sampling, we have collected the data. We have collected the data from them, from the people. Then using Pareto chart, different type of charts, we are analyzing the data. Okay, or even sensitivity analysis. Sensitivity analysis. So using these tools, now we have data. They are called as data-driven analysis. Right? This is clear. I'll explain the other thing.
Yes, Amer sir, thank you.
So when we talk about the planning can be simple planning. You make plans as we do. So we have progressive planning. Progressive planning is basically as you move. At the start, we have a high level plan. As I move, I plan in detail. As I move, I plan it in detail. This is called progressive planning. As I progress, I plan it. It is mostly used for the plans, project management plan, stakeholder plan, communication, etc., etc. Then the other is rolling wave planning. Rolling wave planning is similar to this one. It says that whatever I know, I will plan at high level, then put it as a role and put it there. This can also be used in predictive agile, but it is used more for activities level. We have WBS and activities. It is used for that. Okay, progressive planning. Then we have adaptive planning. Sometime rolling wave and adaptive are considered the same, but adaptive is more used in agile, and the purpose is anytime we can adopt or change according to the requirement. Does that make sense to everyone? Okay. Any other questions? Any follow-up questions? With that, see you on Thursday coaching call. And of course, Saturday we will have a PMP marathon, 60 question answers made by certified PMPs. One request to everyone. I hope you have enjoyed the video. Don't forget to subscribe and like this video. And if you want to enroll in the program, my number is 848-338-0545. Let's start your journey and let's make you PMP.